Honourable Barbara Edmonds.
Malo Alpito, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Finance, does she stand by all her statements and actions?
The Honourable Nicola Willis.
Mr Speaker, in context, yes, I particularly stand by my statements that those with mortgages will welcome today's news of a reduction in the official cash rate.
Supplementary. How can she stand by her statement from March this year that the, quote, recovery is underway when KiwiSaver members withdrew over $470 million for hardship reasons in the past year, a 56.6% increase?
Well, Mr Speaker, I obviously have concern for any New Zealander who feels that their situation is such that it makes sense for them to have to draw down on their savings. And for those in that position who have made that choice, that will reflect a range of challenging household circumstances. It is the case when unemployment is high, which it has been forecast to be at this point in the year for some years, that affects household income and therefore their ability to save, and therefore influences choices about whether or not people make KiwiSaver withdrawals. And I would highlight again to the member that it has been the case that since prior to the election that all of the forecasts put forward by the previous Finance Minister predicted that at this point unemployment would be peaking.
Supplementary. How can she stand by her statement that the recovery is underway when there is a 37% increase in company liquidations that is greater than under the global financial crisis?
Well, Mr Speaker, I have never debated that we have been going as a country through a very difficult economic recovery. That is the case. It is also the case that we have been through 3 very challenging years, including a period in which GDP per capita declined significantly. It is also the case that in the final 3 months of last year we had healthy levels of growth at 0.5% for the quarter, and that in the first quarter of this year at 0.8%, which annualised would be more than 3, we had a level of growth that was far stronger than that forecast by Treasury, the Reserve Bank and others. And it is on that basis that I made the comment that the recovery was underway. I've also acknowledged many times in this House that there is no debate about the fact that the second quarter of this year has been challenging, very challenging for many New Zealand businesses and households, and I suspect that those liquidations reflect that. That has been a reaction, in part, to the announcement of tariffs, global uncertainty that has had an impact here at home.
Supplementary. Is the Minister of Finance aware that that 37% increase was before Liberation Day in April of this year?
Well, Mr Speaker, I'd suggest to the member that her generic question as her primary question does not provide the opportunity to explore topics in detail, and I would welcome her taking a different approach in question time so we could actually have a substantive debate rather than her listing a series of statistics and quotes, which I think is boring for everyone in the House.
Supplementary. Does she really support people wearing hard hats and a high-vis when there are 18,000 fewer construction workers at a time when the government has cancelled 3,500 State House builds?
Mr Speaker, I absolutely stand with everyone who wants to wear a hard hat and high-vis, which is why I back Fast Track, because Fast Track will ensure that major construction projects can be underway faster, and I urge the member to join me in supporting that. And it is also why I welcome today's announcement of lower interest rates, because anyone in the construction sector will tell you that when interest rates soar as high as they did under the previous government, that destroys the pipeline of future construction projects. And in order for those projects to stack up again, they need to see affordable borrowing rates, which is what we are now seeing with stable economic and fiscal management.
Supplementary. How does offering secondary school teachers a 1% pay rise but board directors of government agencies or entities an 80% pay rise show that, quote, we value teachers very, very much, unquote?